High school sports fans, are you following Varsity Media on our YouTube channel? For the best coverage of New York high school sports, make sure you head to youtube.com/varsitymedia. 3 easy steps. First, hit that like button, and then be sure to subscribe. And finally, tap that yellow bell to be notified of all of our upcoming sportscasts. Thank you for following Varsity Media on YouTube.
Welcome to Supreme Hoops basketball training in the heart of Queens, New York, where passion meets performance. Are you ready to evaluate your game and unleash your true potential? At Supreme Hoops, we're not just about basketball, we're about results. Our experienced coaches are dedicated to taking your skills to the next level. Whether you thrive at group sessions or prefer the personalized attention of one-on-one coaching, Supreme Hoops has you covered. Let's get to work. Book your session today at supremehoopstraining.com.
It's a Friday night at St. Francis Prep. It's the Brooklyn Queens Championship. The Kingsmen have made the trip from Brooklyn, and the Terriers from St. Francis Prep. And there you see what's on the line here. Friday night lights. It's going to be a good one. Top-seeded Nazareth, third-seeded St. Francis Prep for the Brooklyn Queens Championship game. This title contest sponsored by Maspeth Federal Savings. Well, a pleasant good evening. We bring you courtside. Dylan Butler alongside John Perez for what should be an electric evening of high school basketball here. It's an intriguing matchup as well because you've got a St. Francis Prep team that's home, but they're away. And you've got a Nazareth team that a year ago competed for the A championship, and now first-year AA, they're in the title contest.
Yeah, this is a Nazareth team that has been circling the AA over the last few years, and this has been a goal since Gary Irvin has taken over. So very excited to see them in the title bat. But the one thing, Dylan, that Gary Irvin's teams have not done, they have not won the big one, and specifically for the Brooklyn Queens, obviously in their first year. So they're going to have a lot in their favor. They're playing in a road gym, even though it's neutral. They've got their home crowd here. But either way, there's something special about a Friday night here in Flushing, and can't wait to see Nazareth take title. And for St. Francis Prep, they've always been knocking on the door. Obviously, a couple of championships over the last few years. Looking to continue that excellence.
Let's take a look at the brackets and how we got here in Brooklyn, Queens. And you see there, Nazareth earning that bye as the top seed. They beat Zavarian in a huge win for St. Francis Prep. It was here as well the other evening, but a big gorilla off the back for the Terriers. They had lost their last 5 games to Christ the King, and they win that one. A big confidence booster to come into tonight's contest.
Still, I might sound hyperbolic, but this is similar to that 1980s Miracle on Ice team where, yes, Christ the King was that big target, but they got to win the big one. It doesn't mean anything if you don't bring home the hardware. And for St. Francis Prep, look, they can do so. And for Nazareth, so many people counted them out this year, but they believed in what they had. They're the top seed for a reason, and they're certainly one of the best teams in New York City.
When you talk St. Francis Prep, a big part of that conversation is our impact players, of course, and it's Veer Anthony. He missed the end of the regular season, but since that, man, he has kicked it into gear. He's playing his best basketball. And, of course, the big man inside, Osman Asako, earning third-team All-League selections. They go as these two guys go, and right now they're going really, really well.
Yeah, Veer Anthony, of course, one of the best guards in his class, and if he gets Sacco involved offensively, it's going to be a tough night for Nazareth.
And for Nazareth, they've got a terrific guard as well and a good tandem for the Kingsmen. And perhaps a little bit underrated is Tristan Rogers, and maybe there's a little bit something on his back, right, as the leader, as the guard that didn't make an all-league selection. So maybe a chip on his shoulder here. And Halon Rawlings, everyone knows who he is. First-team all-league, has all those D1 offers as well. And he's a guy certainly who can really have a big say in this game.
If you didn't know Tristan Rogers before this game, you'll definitely know him afterwards.
We're getting ready for the start of this one as we have the teams line up. Special moment here tonight, John, as the Most Reverend Robert J. Brennan, the Bishop of Brooklyn, is here tonight, and you see him here at center court, and he will lead the pregame prayer.
I think it's great that he's doing this, and he comes out to athletic events, really ingratiating himself with the community, and we got the chance to speak to him beforehand. It was wonderful. It was a wonderful experience.
So Paul Gilveri hands him the mic.
We're really proud of both of these teams, of all of our players, all of our schools really in Brooklyn and Queens. We have a Brooklyn-Queens playoff over here, and that's a great thing. Seeing you out on the court, and you both look amazing. This is going to be some game. Over the last couple of weeks, I've been quoting a bishop named Irenaeus, who lived a long, long time ago. He used to say, "The glory of God is the human person fully alive." God is being glorified today. You guys are fully alive, doing great things, and we're real proud, as I said. Why don't we turn to the Lord and ask Him to bless us and to bless this night as we pray together. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, amen. Lord God, giver of every gift and talent, we turn to you this night asking your blessing upon all of us as we gather for this basketball game. We thank you for the ways that you guide us in your ways, to call us to higher things, push us beyond our limits, and show us your love for us in all things. We ask that we may play this game in dignity and respect and honor. We ask that we may enjoy this night and that all will be safe. We ask you to help us to know your will, granting us the courage to do it as together we say, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Welcome to Supreme Hoops basketball training in the heart of Queens, New York, where passion meets performance. Are you ready to evaluate your game and unleash your true potential? At Supreme Hoops, we're not just about basketball, we're about results. Our experienced coaches are dedicated to taking your skills to the next level. Whether you thrive at group sessions or prefer the personalized attention of one-on-one coaching, Supreme Hoops has you covered. Let's get to work. Book your session today at supremehoopstraining.com. Are you a local business looking for new and creative ways to promote your company? Varsity Media offers affordable rates that can get your message across to a demographic of 18 to 54 years of age. Our follower base across social media is over 50,000 strong, and our viewership numbers per game are in the thousands. Don't blow your advertising budget on old staples like TV and radio media. Reach out to Varsity Media to get the best bang for your buck.
Hey sports fans, did you know Varsity Media live stream broadcasts get viewed by college coaches nationwide? Through our announcers' storytelling and insight on your athletes, we can help your players get an edge on college recruiting. Find out how by reaching out to Varsity Media today, 516-403-2050, or email ben@varsitymedia.net.
Packed house here at St. Francis Prep. Dylan Butler, John Perez, our entire Varsity Media crew with you for this Brooklyn Queens championship game. It's the third-seeded Terriers of St. Francis Prep. They come in with a 18-8 record. And Nazareth, the top seed, maybe not many thought they'd be the top seed coming into this 19-6. Let's take a look at the keys now, John, for this one for both teams. Of course, we spoke with both coaches leading it, and here's what they thought.
Yeah, for St. Francis Prep, they have to handle defensive looks differently or handle the different defensive looks. Nazareth does a good job disguising their defense on the fly. They can switch from man to zone, box one. They'll throw everything in the kitchen sink. And you don't want the Kingsmen to get off the three-point line, defend in the post. That's what St. Francis Prep did so well. We saw them in person against Kadir Martin. They took him away in the option, did a good job there. And they just play with energy, not with the emotions. And that's something that he's been preaching all year, the head coach, Jimmy Lynch, for St. Francis Prep. For Nazareth, hey, keep it simple. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Be disciplined, be tough, and have fun.
Let's hand it down to the PA announcer, Tommy Kennedy, with the starting lineups for tonight's contest.
I'm already.
At guard, senior number 2, Nolan Ryman. At guard, sophomore number 3, Troy Mason. At guard, junior number 11, Nacho Moore. At guard, junior number 10, Pierre Anthony. And at forward is sophomore number 25, Osmana Sacco. The Terriers head coach is Jimmy Lynch. And now the starting lineup for the Nazareth Kingsmen. 0, Joseph Jennings. Number 1, Tristan Rogers. Number 2, Tyler Francis. Number 4, Halon Rollins. And number 5, Elijah Witter. The Kingsmen head coach is Gary Irvin. The officials for tonight's game are Arnold Sorter, Anthony Carnaccio, and Jimmy Nolan. Let's play ball.
All right, we're ready to finally play basketball, John Perez. These two teams split their regular season matchups in an unconventional split at that, where Nazareth won here on a Friday night in Fresh Meadows, and St. Francis Prep really put it on Nazareth on the road, but when we spoke with Jimmy Lynch, the St. Francis Prep head coach, says, listen, we're not going to take a lot from that second matchup. It will not be as lopsided a contest as we saw on that Tuesday afternoon.
No, absolutely not. And I think for Nazareth, a team that is trying to find ways to believe, seeing it get done here, technically on the road in that game, does wonders for the Kingsmen. They're fearless going into tonight and looking to knock off St. Francis Prep, which was funny. We were talking to Jimmy Lynch yesterday, who said that he would treat his team as the road team. Well, they're in the home whites. They're on their home bench. I don't know how much of a road game this is for Jimmy.
He said the other night they used one of the classrooms, which is usually what the visiting team does here at St. Francis Prep, not their beautiful new constructed locker room, but maybe that changed a little bit for the final. Let's see. Arnold Saunders ready to get things started. Good crew here, of course, on a Friday night. Arnold Saunders, Jimmy Nolan, Anthony Carnaccio, your officials. Opening tip goes to the Terriers. And here's one of those fun game-within-a-game matchups, John, at the point.
Joe Jennings gets the assignment on Veer Anthony, and if Veer Anthony's touching the ball a lot, he's got to get his teammates involved. So look for that there as Naz's defense comes up big on the first drive.
And there's Tristan Rogers, picked up by Nolan Raymond. Both teams showing early on that man-to-man, but as you alluded to in the pregame, Jimmy Lynch knows there'll be a lot of switching for Gary Irvin's Kingsmen. Here's Rawling. Back iron, no good. Sacco, the rebound. Here's Veer Anthony. Navigates through traffic. Bounces it back out. 3-point shot up and good for Nigel Moore.
Yeah, good to get the junior going. Remember, in the beginning of the year, he was usually the first guy off the bench. Now earned his starting spot and Kansas' first triple of the night.
He's also just earned his first Division I offer from Siena. As there's Rawling, picks up his dribble, kicks it out. A lot of size and athleticism for this Kingsman team. A little bit out of control, though, as well was Tyler Francis, and it's St. Francis Prep ball.
You know, Dylan, I went to that event in July over at Iona Prep. It was the CHSAA NCAA sanctioned tournament that they had, and I just remember being impressed by Naz's size and thinking, how was this team only in the A over the last few years? I mean, they look like men out there, and they certainly will have the size advantage, not just tonight, but the rest of the playoffs.
Veer Anthony doubled, kicks it out to Faison. They go baseline. Sacco spins inside, uses the strength. Too strong, though. And Naz comes away with the ball. Baseline. Contended. That was Rawling going up against Sacco. And now the Terriers on a break. A little floater by Raymond. No good. But Sacco gets the putback.
Started, ended with Sacco, got the defensive stop, and gets rewarded with the bucket on the other end. Now holding his left wrist. Keep an eye on that.
It's interesting because you speak to both coaches, and maybe not a lot of people thought this would be your matchup in the Brooklyn Queens championship game. Another missed jumper. And here come the Terriers with Faison, a guy who Jimmy Lynch says really from the beginning of the year, first practice to now, the most improved player. Sacco steps out and buries the triple.
Couldn't have drawn up a better start for St. Francis Prep. And if you get Sacco involved offensively early on, he defends, he gets back in transition. You got to feed the bigs, and he's eating early on.
Here's Rogers. Rollin pulls up, and that's good from the foul line.
Did Naz need that in the worst way? Rollins does a good job creating his own shot. Seen as one of the most underrated players and under-recruited players in New York City.
Yeah, those offers will certainly increase. He's got another year left. Here's Nigel Moore. Sacco is feeling it. Buries it from the top of the key.
Why not for Sacco? It's something he's worked on in the offseason, now coming to fruition.
That's 8 of the Terriers' 11 in this first quarter. Corner 3, in and out. Look at Halon Rawlings getting up there for the rebound. Nazareth really struggling offensively early on. Loose ball. Look at Sacco diving on the court after it. We'll have a jump, and Nazareth will have the possession.
What a fantastic start for Sacco, though, really getting involved, leaving it all out on the floor, and you can see he's wincing over there. I like the shots that Nazareth is getting. St. Francis Prep is contesting them, but either way, for Nazareth, eventually the shots will fall.
First sub as well, Caden Francis, a guy that Gary Irvin puts a lot of high praise on, just a sophomore, but 6'8". He's setting the screen now. Three-point shot is good. Witter buries it from beyond the arc.
He's a player that when he and Joseph Jennings are on, Nazareth, the reason why they're the number 1 seed.
Anthony splits defenders. Battle for the loose ball, and it will be Nazareth ball. And you can see the Kingsmen, John, chipping away now. This is a good look at their head coach, Gary Irvin. Brought his team to the A championship in back-to-back years. Last year brought him there as an undefeated team, 26-0. But in back-to-back years, they lost that A final. 2 years ago to Fordham Prep, last year to Monsignor Farrell.
Well, and you know, when you're looking at Nazareth's head coach too, Gary Irvin, you could have made the case that he should have been coach of the year. With the talent that he had, the expectations, overachieved it. Now, listen, obviously Pat Massaroni won it in his own right, and deservedly so. I could just see arguments both ways, and it's always a great basketball debate of, do you give it to the coach that has a team that might have overachieved or the team that's got an All-American on it?
They fed the post. Tyler Michelle called for the foul, just entered the game as well. It was a regular starter, Michelle, during the season, a little bit sick right now, and has had to come in kind of as a sixth man. And Jimmy Lynch says also he's a little bit superstitious. So he goes with the 5 that wins. We're going back to that same 5. And there's Witter up top to Rogers. Foul line jumper is good. There is the baby bull himself, Francis.
You know, the way the Nazareth coaching staff was talking about him, they see Francis as a 6'8" sophomore as one of the next high prospects in New York City.
Inside, tough jumper, really well defended by Rogers. The alley-oop, Francis, 2 more.
And there's the athleticism right there. Didn't catch it cleanly in the air, but still able to put it in the hole.
Yeah, Francis, the guy still trying to figure it out. Played JV last year, so that you go from a JV-A player to a varsity AA. Sacco, 3-ball, no good. Rebound, though, pulled down by Michelle. Nice feed inside, turnaround. Nigel Moore for 2 more.
Yeah, that's miscommunication between Howland Rollins and Elijah Whittier. They got caught between a rock and a hard place, and Moore's able to get some space and the bucket.
Jennings up top. And they'll work the ball around. Rawling. Up top, Francis. What an impact he's made off the bench to help Nazareth get back in this game. There he is again for 3. 7 off the bench for the sophomore.
Tremendous upside. I love his shooting stroke. Got some separation, knocked it in.
Look at this, John. We got a 1-point game now. Moore swings it. There's Faison in and out. Fear Anthony, all hustle, all heart. Jimmy Lynch said one of the keys was, as we showed you before the game, as Moore gets rejected, it's about playing with those 2 E's, right? It's energy, but not with emotion. A lot of emotion in the building right now as Sacco gets the rejection, gets it inside, soft touch.
Jimmy Lynch will call a quick timeout. Sacco got away with a foul at half court. But either way, the reason why St. Francis Prep was having difficulty on offense, they went away from Sacco. So he sparks the offense by the block, gets down the floor, bucket, Terriers. Here, so let's take another look when it comes to Sacco. Keep an eye on 25 in white. Gets up the floor, then gets tangled up, shoves Jennings to the ground, and back the other way. Able to put it in there. And, hey, listen, I don't mind if the refs look the other way if it's not intentional. But either way, St. Francis Prep needed that in a heartbeat.
Varsity Media partnering this year with Gipper, the #1 social media content creation platform for athletic programs. Thousands of your best social media sports graphic templates, social media automation, AI-powered one-click background removal, mobile app for easy content creation on the go. Learn more at www.gipper.com. There's a good look, Jimmy Lynch. You see him there, 7th year, even though it's usually about 100 degrees here. He's got the sweater, right? A little bit of an old school there to late, great Tim Leary, whose name now is on this court. Of course, Jimmy Lynch recently this year picked up win number 100 as a varsity coach.
And just a tremendous job that he's done picking up from Coach Leary as well. But he's really made St. Francis Prep his own in a good way, too. And that's the one thing when you come in as a head coach, you want to establish your own culture, build from the history, and he's found a way to marry the two.
Yeah, listen, last year, 19-9, they lost to Hayes in the AA intersectional semifinals. Second straight year they made the semifinals. And this year would love to make another trip there as well and maybe avoid Joe Lodes and Cardinal Hayes. We have a brief delay because there's a little bit of a wet spot by the Nazareth bench. So that'll get cleaned up.
I believe that was all the blood, sweat, and tears by Nazareth, so they got to clear that up. We'll take a look at the bracket, too, if we have the intersectional later on, because this game, big implications.
Yeah, we'll talk about that as this broadcast goes along. Rawlings inside. Pretty move for Halon. Inside the final minute of this first quarter. Michelle misses the jumper, and now, after that slow start, Nazareth a chance to take a lead into the second quarter. Rawling from 3, off the mark, and an offensive foul was called on that rebound. I think it's against Francis, and it is. It's Caden's first.
Yeah, Francis gets called on the push from behind, and pretty easy call by Saunders.
So we'll have a 4-second differential from shot to game clock. 15-14 is your score. St. Francis Prep got out to a hot start. Nazareth has chipped away. Terriers, though, have led this entire quarter.
Keep an eye on Hao Chen, #1 in white, just checked in. Maybe Lynch draws a play up for him to get him open.
There, Anthony. Pull-up jumper, no good.
Or not.
And now it's Achilles Desmangles, the junior guard. Gary Irvin says, listen, I can go 10-12 deep. He loves the depth on this team, and we're seeing it here in the final seconds. Desmangles, big Euro step, and he draws the blocking foul on Hao Chen.
You're going to need this depth to make a long run in the playoffs. Now, coaches like to usually cap it off at about 8 deep, but when you've got the talent that Desmangles has, the 6'3 junior, he's seen as the Jamal Crawford, the quintessential 6-man off the bench for Nazareth. Why not give him some run?
Yeah, a guy crafty with his left hand. The Naz family really hasn't seen a lot of him before transfer from Zavarian. So, you know, in the transfer rules in the Catholic League, you sit out for a year. So it's been a while, but here it is again.
Well, and watch Desmangles get over. Chen does everything that he can.
So that extra little step, though, for Chen. He had his position, but then hedged a little bit, and that's where the foul came in. Desmangles goes 1 of 2. And that does it for the first quarter. Hot start for St. Francis Prep, but Nazareth claws their way back in. They've got it tied at 15. 1 quarter in the books. You're watching it all right here in the Varsity Media Sports Network.
This is Jalen Brunson. You're watching Varsity Media.
We welcome you back to St. Francis Prep here in Fresh Meadows. Gary Irvin, 4th year as the head coach. What a guard he was, man, back in his day, playing for Robeson. Made the championship game in the PSAL, the Big Boy Championship. Back-to-back trips to the Garden. Back-to-back losses as well, senior year, to a guy named Sebastian Telfair in a school named Lincoln High School. But he's really carved out a terrific coaching career. And as you said, I didn't have a vote. He would have had my vote as Coach of the Year. Considering, again, it's two different schools of thought. Listen, Pat Masseroni, his team didn't lose a game in league. It's hard to argue against that. But when you make the move from the A to the AA and you top Brooklyn Queens in the regular season, that's what I think he deserves it. But regardless, up ahead, tip in, put back for Rollins to start this second quarter, and the Kingsmen have their first lead.
Just a good job by Rollins following the play over there. And
you see the switch now, John, 1-3-1. Again, different looks the Kingsmen will throw at you defensively. Faison, nice pass inside. Good disruption by Francis.
Now they switch, not in the 1-3-1 anymore.
Loose ball picked up by Vera Anthony. Faison open, 3, back rim, no good. Battle for the loose ball. And Vera Anthony, more times than not, he's going to come away with that one. Here's Sacco. Low post, the lefty, hook.
Got to get Sacco cooking in the post. He hoisted from 3, knocked down a couple, and once he starts to feel himself, it's a lot better. And now an official's timeout is. It looks like Francis might have some blood on his jersey.
Yeah, back in the day, there was a young man named Lou Alcindor who played in this league, Power Memorial, and Sacco, maybe a little bit of an ode to the old school there with that lefty hook in the lane.
I got a lot of grief for comparing Joe Lodes to Lou Carnesecca, and we're just throwing out Lou Alcindor as Montesacco over here.
Just in terms of that move, that's all. And Roman goes down low. Sacco. Here comes Vera Anthony the other way. Anthony in the lane.
Love the contact there. There's no grittier player in Brooklyn Queens than Vera Anthony, leaving it all out on the floor.
He plays basketball with that football mentality. Rawlings from 3. And the best players, John, for both teams coming up big early on.
Well, you got to love the competitiveness, and Rollins seeing what Anthony could do and wants to continue to add to his tally.
Here is Vera Anthony. Draws the double, the kick out. Nice extra pass inside. You go inside out. Faison pulls up just inside the 3-point line. No good. And here comes Naz the other way. Rogers ahead of the field. It's Roman.
Sacco with the bank shot. And another triple for Sacco. Here we go, Dylan.
We know there's a Maspeth Federal Savings just down the block. And that's open. Runner in the lane, Desmangles.
Well, Desmangles with his first deposit down low, and St. Francis Prep doesn't get over on defense, and either way, now we'll see the 2-3 from the Kingsmen.
And that one of the keys, right, for Jimmy Lynch is recognizing and handling the different defensive looks. Vera Anthony, what a save inside the layup for Nolan Raymond.
That's the second time that the Kingsmen have gone into a zone and then failed to rebound. You get the off-kilter shot, you got to secure the rebound.
Lefty layup, Rogers.
The guy that could do so many different things and always answers the call no matter what Gary Irvin enlists him to do.
Game heating up here in Fresh Meadows. Friday night, Brooklyn Queens Championship. Faison, Sacco. $16 for the big man. Terriers up by 1. Rawlings goes behind the back, draws the double, and Arnold Saunders has the traveling violation.
Yeah, move that pivot foot, called for happy feet, and that's what St. Francis Prep can do. They could trouble you, and this is a Nazareth team that doesn't turn the ball over. They're very disciplined, so a rare unforced error.
What a start for Osmana Sacco. And just a sophomore, and so often Jimmy Lynch has said he's got to kind of remind himself of the actual youth of his team. As Vier Anthony gets to the basket, perhaps he's another example. Plays like a senior, but still just a junior. Here's Witter, guarded by Raymond. Francis back in the game. Hands off to Roman. Doubled. Francis. They'll feed the post. Back out. Francis. Rims around. No good. Rawlings skies for the rebound. He gets Sacco up in the air, and he draws the foul.
Well, when you've got the size advantage, with the exception of Sacco, Nazareth does a good job on the offensive glass, but has been having difficulty rebounding against St. Francis Prep because of the half that Sacco is having. So a good job by Rollins getting the offensive rebound and giving his team a chance.
Oklahoma State, Seton Hall, Manhattan among the offers for Rawling. First free throw off the mark. 16.5 points a game he averages.
Yeah, just a good job boxing out there and gets to the rack, earns the foul.
Yeah, that was on Vier Anthony. So he'll go 1 of 2 from the line. The Kingsmen will call a 30-second timeout. You see Gary Irvin in there, and listen, so often, right, these coaches and these teams in AA, right, they'll go on a trip during the holiday break. Joe Arbitello sent his guys down to Hawaii, San Diego for St. Francis Prep. You had City of Palms down in Fort Myers for Stepanak. Where did the Kingsmen go?
Oh, the 49th state.
Alaska's a beautiful in December.
Yes.
But listen, it was an opportunity. Donnie Wilkes, who runs the City of Palms in Fort Myers, gave him a call, and an assist goes to Pat Massaroni from Stepanak, who suggested Nazareth, and unfortunately for Gary Irvin, was sick for most of that. He could really only coach his team, but he said it was a great bonding experience for his guys.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Dylan, I think a Hilton in Anchorage is also the same as if it was in Brooklyn. It doesn't matter where it is. But I think it's a great learning opportunity, camaraderie, and these are guys that want to play at the next level, so getting used to the travel, team bonding, and it just goes to show the national presence that the CHSAA has.
And Gary Irvin said what we've heard other coaches say as well. He knew where these other coaches were and said he was rooting for those guys as well. And as we heard from Arbitello and we heard from Massaroni and Lynch as well, right? Like, here you battle and you want to win the game, but when you go non-conference and you go out of state, you root for your league.
Oh, yeah, and it only helps. It only helps the recognition, the strengthening of the league, and makes everybody better.
Here's Nigel Moore. Michelle, they go inside and out. Raymond, back rim, no good. Tyler Michelle, great save. Foul line jumper, Nigel Moore.
Well, Tyler Michelle just picked up an offer from Queens College. Matt Collier and his staff are here, and I'll tell you what, the Knights need more of that, and Michelle providing it.
Francis, no good. Yeah, he doesn't have to travel very far, that's for sure. What is that, the 2 exits down the LIE to Casino Boulevard?
That's it.
Vier Anthony underneath. All 6 of his points coming in this second quarter. 6-point lead for the Terriers. The quote-unquote road team tonight. Now next year, this championship, regardless of who's in it, is at Christ the King. They alternate between 2 of the bigger gyms in Brooklyn, Queens. Another traveling violation against Francis.
Well, Dylan, I'll tell you what, when St. Francis Prep goes to Christ the King, it still is 50-50, maybe even 60-40 in favor of St. Francis Prep, because everybody from their team is from Queens, and Middle Village kids go to St. Francis Prep. So they get 2 home gyms, not to mention when they play Holy Cross. That's a fun one, too.
Yeah, Battle of the Boulevard. Right down Francis Lewis Boulevard here. About 2.4 miles separates Sacco. Oh, my goodness. Just feeling it in this first half. 20 for the big man of the Terriers, 35. Little runner, nice looking shot there by Tristan Rogers.
Yeah, taking what the defense will give you. You don't have to get too pretty, and pops it in.
Here's Troy Faison. Faison gets on the Jets, no good. Sacco can't get the putback. And here come the Kingsmen the other way. Francis, he's open for three. No good. Fioranthony, he's got the big up ahead. Sacco underneath and still finishes.
It's his half. It's his game. It's Osmana Sacco's world. We're just living in it.
He's picked up offers from Bryant and LIU. And given how he's performing in these big games and the fact he's still just a sophomore, those offers, man, will they accelerate. Speaking of acceleration, here comes Nigel Moore. The kick, Fioranthony. Up and under.
No fear in Veer going up amongst the bigs. Nice reverse layup, and all Terriers in the second quarter.
10-point lead for St. Francis Prep. Final 24 seconds of this second quarter. Rogers hands off. Halon Rawlings. A big triple for Rawlings. And now the Terriers will hold here for the last shot of this first half. Anthony spins, lefty, no good. Falls hard to the floor. And a foul was called on Nigel Moore. A smart foul at that, too. Because now you're asking Nazareth to go length of the court with 1 second left.
Love Fear getting to the rack, and you're right. It's not the worst foul. Set up your defense. 1 second left. Make Nazareth earn it.
39-32. Inbound, half-court heave. That will not be good. And St. Francis Prep has a 39-32 lead here at the half. Big second quarter. And, of course, Osmana Sacco all over that one. We're joined now by St. Francis Prep head coach Jimmy Lynch here at halftime. And Jimmy, an electric atmosphere. It's Friday night in the Catholic League. What do you think of the way your guys have played in this first half?
It's so hard to hear out there. I'm proud of our guys. We told them in the huddles and before the game, it's those 5 kids on the floor. They can look at us for maybe some hand signals or some directions. You can't hear a thing out there, so you really got to help each other out. I'm proud of the effort our guys gave. The pace of play is frenetic right now. It's so crazy. I don't know who that favors right now, but we're winning the game by a couple of points, so maybe it does favor us. I don't know.
Specifically when it comes to the effort and energy that you're getting out of Osmana Sacco, what are you seeing that's leading to his excellence?
He's a gamer. He wants to win. I know he does, and he'll do anything it takes to win. His conditioning, he's a little gassed because he's playing so hard, but he's holding down the glass for us. He had 2 or 3 tremendous blocks up by the rim. He gives us something that really not too many teams have.
Just last one, what do you want to see from your guys here in the second half?
This is going to come down to heart. Both teams are playing so good. Gary does an amazing job with his guys. He's a tremendous coach, and it shows through the way that his kids play. So this is going to come down to the last couple of minutes, and that's what it should be, I think, on this kind of game.
We don't mean to bump you, but we have the Bishop of Brooklyn here waiting.
Does he cut my checks? Or is that, right,
Jimmy
thanks,
Lynch, good stuff.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Take a quick break, and we will have the Most Reverend Robert J. Brennan when we come right back here on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
You're watching Varsity Media, New York's high school sports network.
Are you a local business looking for new and creative ways to promote your company? Varsity Media offers affordable rates that can get your message across to a demographic of 18 to 54 years of age. Our follower base across social media is over 50,000 strong, and our viewership numbers per game are in the thousands. Don't blow your advertising budget on old staples like TV and radio media. Reach out to Varsity Media to get the best bang for your buck. Welcome to Supreme Hoops basketball training in the heart of Queens, New York, where passion meets performance. Are you ready to evaluate your game and unleash your true potential? At Supreme Hoops, we're not just about basketball, we're about results. Our experienced coaches are dedicated to taking your skills to the next level. Whether you thrive at group sessions or prefer the personalized attention of one-on-one coaching, Supreme Hoops has you covered. Let's get to work. Book your session today at supremehoopstraining.com.
Welcome back to St. Francis Prep High School. It's the Brooklyn Queens Championship game right here on the Varsity Media Sports Network. And Dylan Butler, John Perez, and we're really pleased to be joined here at halftime with the Most Reverend Robert J. Brennan, the Bishop of Brooklyn. Not every day we get a chance to speak. We speak to head coaches, we speak to players, but a first for us here, and we're certainly, it's a pleasure.
Well, I'm glad for the chance to be able to speak with you. And what a great game it is, right? Two pretty much evenly matched teams.
I was going to ask you, what an incredible atmosphere here on a Friday night. What have you thought?
A lot of excitement, a lot of good ball playing. It's a lot of fun.
For you specifically, what does it mean to yourself and to try and ingratiate yourself with, not just student athletes, but the community in Brooklyn and Queens?
It's a very important priority for me to be out in and among the people and to be where people are living, where people are getting down into the nitty-gritty of real life. And boy, this is a great example of it. This is really good here at a basketball game.
And also, obviously, these are two schools part of the Brooklyn Queens Diocesan and
a Brooklyn Queens matchup, right?
Exactly, yeah, Brooklyn Queens championship game. But listen, we were both part of a Catholic education. It's so important, and people have so many choices these days. But it feels like the Catholic schools in Brooklyn and Queens not just surviving but thriving right now.
They really are, and you know what we're about? We're really about educating the whole person. So I think we give an education that holds up to any education out there, all the classics, the academics, and all of that. But we're also about developing spiritual lives. We're about developing a sense of integrity and moral life. The physical sports, we're about playing games with honor and dignity, so this is all about the I said before, at the beginning of the game, the glory of God is the human person fully alive, and that's what we have here.
Now, obviously, we're living in a different world than we were maybe 20, 40 years ago. These are student athletes that have a lot on their plate. There's a lot of pressure, a little thing called social media out there, too.
Yeah.
I would love to know your message to these young student athletes that have to handle all of that, but also want to incorporate their faith.
I would say a couple of things. One, know that you're appreciated and loved. I mean, that's one of my messages for being here, is to say, hey, we really do appreciate you guys. You matter to us. Number two, don't lose sight of who you are. For us as Catholic Christians, keep your eye on Jesus, but don't lose sight of who you are. Don't let other people try to demean you or put you down. Just remember who you are. And another thing I often say to young people is try to surround yourself with good people. Try to find people who are going to build you up, not tear you down.
Listen, you're a Lindy guy. You went to St. John the Baptist. Anything that you did there athletically similar to what we saw here in the first half?
No. I was, believe it or not, I was on the math team.
There we go. All right. A lot of competitiveness on that math team
right.
as well. But you were down the street down too at St. John's University.
St. John's, yeah. And there I was actually more as an alum, but there more in the stands than on the court.
100%. Well, Your Excellency, we appreciate a few moments.
Thanks, and thanks for what you're doing. Thanks for bringing this to our people.
Yeah, of course.
God bless you.
It is the Most Reverend Robert J. Brennan, the Bishop of Brooklyn. Thank you so much for joining us.
Enjoy.
Halftime here at St. Francis Prep. We'll take a quick break. We'll get some halftime stats and more. You're watching it right here on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
You're watching Varsity Media, New York's high school sports network. Are you a local business looking for new and creative ways to promote your company? Varsity Media offers affordable rates that can get your message across to a demographic of 18 to 54 years of age. Our follower base across social media is over 50,000 strong, and our viewership numbers per game are in the thousands. Don't blow your advertising budget on old staples like TV and radio media. Reach out to Varsity Media to get the best bang for your buck. Welcome to Supreme Hoops basketball training in the heart of Queens, New York, where passion meets performance. Are you ready to evaluate your game and unleash your true potential? At Supreme Hoops, we're not just about basketball, we're about results. Our experienced coaches are dedicated to taking your skills to the next level. Whether you thrive at group sessions or prefer the personalized attention of one-on-one coaching, Supreme Hoops has you covered. Let's get to work. Book your session today at supremehoopstraining.com.
Hey sports fans, did you know Varsity Media live stream broadcasts get viewed by college coaches nationwide? Through our announcers' storytelling and insight on your athletes, we can help your players get an edge on college recruiting. Find out how by reaching out to Varsity Media today, 516-403-2050, or email ben@varsitymedia.net.
We welcome you back to St. Francis Prep High School here in Fresh Meadows, Queens. Dylan Butler, John Perez, the entire Varsity Media crew with you. It's halftime of this Brooklyn Queens championship game. And the Terriers of St. Francis Prep have a 39-32 lead. An opportunity, John, now for us to take a look at the recently unveiled all-league teams, as well as the player and the coach of the year. And let's start here with the third team all-league.
How is that man that I just saw in the first half on the top right not at a level up higher? No, it just goes to show the depth in this league, too. Listen, you can't go wrong. Elijah
Even
Swan.
Carbuccia, he has an argument for being on a higher level, too.
Right. No, listen, you
Both
can
of
make
those guys.
You can make the case for Small, Moreno, Keenan. It's a very balanced year, a lot of talent, and for so many different ways, right? Because what Sacco can do, Carbuccia can't do, vice versa. Moreno, Margolin, things of that nature. So if that's the third team, get ready. I hope you're all sitting at home, folks, for the second and first team.
And there is a second team. Vier Anthony didn't make any of the three teams last year. I thought that was a snub. Earns himself a spot on the second team. You see Ty Turnage, again, part of that. Njai as well. And Josh Powell, what a terrific year he had. And again, just a young player here in the Catholic League.
Yeah, he's a young player, a lot of upside, only a sophomore. So what do we have here? We've got only two seniors on this second team. So this could be a preview of the first team next year if you're looking down the road that way. Boy, what a job Adam Njai has turned at Cardinal Hayes and what he's been able to do too. And then, of course, here's the first team, the Kings of the King. An
incredible team. Brandon Storrs back-to-back years in the first team. Ritvo played his way on. I think we probably thought, 5 of those 6 were kind of guaranteed guys, but Ritvo, the way that he's played this year, not only earned himself a scholarship to Quinnipiac, but earned himself a spot on the first team.
I'll tell you what, if I'm a MAC, I would love to have Ritvo on my team. We'll see if those offers go up to higher levels, but he's done a great job. And Kadir Martin, what else can you say about him? He's been great.
You know who does have Ritvo on his team? That guy!
Oh!
The coach of the year in the Catholic League. How about that? Listen, when you have a season that you have and play a national schedule and win all your league games, it's, we said maybe Gary Irvin could have a shout, but Pat has earned that honor.
No, Pat's earned that honor, and a great job to him. I understand the argument of overachieving, but at the end of the day, this league is about winning. How many wins did Pat Massaroni have this year? I believe it's more than anybody else. How many losses in league did they have, Dylan? Can we count them on one hand? No, right.
Correct.
Exactly. He's done a great job so far, and hey, you could have written this in the summer.
Yeah, Boogie Flan. And what I like about Boogie, too, is, listen, he had that scholarship, right? Like, he knew where he was going, and he has balled out this year. Like, he's a man on a mission this year, and it's not about getting to Lexington. It's about winning another championship.
And so many times you see players of the year kind of just coast, and they've got the scholarship. Let's lock it in. Not Boogie Flan. He's looking to go back-to-back.
Second half underway. Nazareth ball They trail here in the Brooklyn Queens championship game. Their first venture into this title game. Look at Francis and Sacco. Those guys are sophomores. They've got a couple more years to do battle underneath.
These guys are just sophomores on paper. If you were to tell me that everybody on the floor here is a senior, I'd believe you, or at least a junior at that. Just playing well above their years, and Rawlings, too. What he's been able to do as a junior, leading the way, leading scorer for Nazareth, and he could beat you in so many ways as well.
Yeah, Gary Irvin said, listen, he holds his team to a very high level, and he has very high expectations. Vera Anthony, no good underneath. So he said he wouldn't use the word surprised for what his team has done, but he said 14-2 in Brooklyn Queens first year. Yeah, he didn't have that on his card of expectations. What a pass down low, and the finish by Faison.
Good job by Faison, the sophomore from Springfield Gardens. He's just been dynamite, a good two-way player, and getting it done offensively. And now we see a zone out of St. Francis Prep.
Yeah, different looks coming this way as well. It's Jennings kicking it back out to Rogers. Rogers, a guy that Irvin was disappointed didn't make one of those 3 all-league teams. Second leading scorer on this Nazareth team. Witter, too strong. And I'll tell you, we've seen a lot of Osmana Sacco these last couple of years. This is the most determined, I feel like, and the best version of Sacco that we've seen.
Talk about energy, and this is what he's given.
A rare miss for Big O. Back rim. Rawlings comes the other way. Brings it at the big fella, and the big man takes it away. Loose ball. Sacco on the court. And it will stay with Nazareth.
Karita's lips. How's that not a foul? I'm asking the same thing, but with that said, Dylan, we touched upon it early on. When he gets involved defensively, it just sparks his offense, and even though he misses that 3, he comes back on the other end, gets a stop, and now the centerpiece of this defensive zone.
Francis just inside that three-point arc buries the jumper. He had 7 in that first half. Second leading scorer for the Kingsmen to Halon Rawlings, 13. But everybody was second to Big O as he was fouled on the court. 22 first half points for Sacco.
I'm interested to see how Nazareth plays Sacco when he doesn't have the ball. Maybe there's some extra chippiness in there, maybe a little bit of an elbow.
I wonder if you got to front him and double, but with the guy in front of him. Here's Sacco kicking it back out.
Well, Francis was face guarding him on the inbound too. Didn't make that pass easy to catch.
Open 3, Nigel Moore. No good. Little volleyball action for the rebound. Faison gets it. And he gets hit as well.
Dylan, another zone by Nazareth and another missed rebound. I don't know what it is about Nazareth, but they're just having difficulty rebounding the basketball. When you do that, you're giving more possessions to St. Francis Prep, who a team that normally does not score at the rate that they're scoring now, but you give them more opportunities. They got to start making stops, the Kingsmen, and they're not doing so defensively or even on the glass.
And Faison will go to the line. Just scored his first basket of this game. And as we mentioned in the open, a guy that Jimmy Lynch says above anybody else has really made the biggest improvement. And when Vera Anthony was out, that stretch drive of the regular season, it was Faison running the show.
Faison's a leader on the football team. He brings that over to the basketball team as well. Just a consummate professional, and that's one thing that St. Francis Prep doesn't lack, its character.
Rogers, guarded by Raymond. Rawlings spins on Anthony, goes up and under. What a pretty move. 15 now for Halon Rawlings. Anthony. And it's interesting how these best defenders, who they're seeing as more, a little bit maybe out of control, and a foul will be called on the floor. And this will go against Sacco.
Yeah, Sacco and Roman hitting the deck, and Yeah, the one demerit for Sacco as he finally picks up his first.
But Jennings for Nazareth, Gary Irvin puts him up as one of the best defenders he thinks in the entire city, and we know what Veer Anthony can do on the defensive side as well. So those are the two guys that are looking to lock guys down.
And after last season's loss, he really implored Jennings to come back stronger. You get a backcourt violation. Rogers stepped across the end line, but Irvin challenged Jennings, number 0 in red, to come back stronger. He prides himself on defense, and he's got a tall task tonight, as if he didn't have all season.
Yeah. So inbound for Michelle. Back to Faison. And this is another thing. All of that experience he has now, even when Veer Anthony's in, you could play Veer Anthony off the ball. Feeds it down low. Moore kicks it out. A wide open three. Sacco.
It's really pick your poison, because you don't want Sacco to set himself down low, but he can drain the threes, and it seems like he's hitting every one that he puts up.
25 now for Sacco. Rawlings loses dribble. Stolen by Faison. Faison ahead of the field, up and under. Sacco! Timeout, Nazareth. It's a full timeout. We'll take it with them. 4:10 left, third quarter. It's heating up here in Fresh Meadows on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
You're watching Varsity Media, New York's high school sports network. Welcome to Supreme Hoops basketball training in the heart of Queens, New York, where passion meets performance. Are you ready to evaluate your game and unleash your true potential? At Supreme Hoops, we're not just about basketball, we're about results. Our experienced coaches are dedicated to taking your skills to the next level. Whether you thrive at group sessions or prefer the personalized attention of one-on-one coaching, Supreme Hoops has you covered. Let's get to work. Book your session today at supremehoopstraining.com.
Welcome back to St. Francis Prep. Dylan Butler, John Perez, our entire Varsity Media crew. The Terriers with a 12-point lead. And when we spoke, John, with Jimmy Lynch, as we see the replay here of that last play, the Terriers playing their best basketball at the best time of the year.
Yeah, and there's no better time, obviously, than to step up late February as we go into March. Everything is breaking right for St. Francis Prep, but they've also created their own opportunities, too, being a top 3 team in Brooklyn, Queens. A chance to be one of the top seeds going into the tournament, which helps a lot. And for Nazareth, hey, you're down 12, but you still got 8.5 minutes left of action. It's not as if Nazareth hasn't been down before. They've been battle-tested, and now this is their largest test of the year so far, and we'll see how they respond. Could be a precursor of things to come in the city type.
Their last meeting was really a strange one in Brooklyn, where Gary Irvin was serving a suspension. So he didn't coach in the game. Veer Anthony on St. Francis Prep, he didn't play in the game. And Jimmy Lynch said, as that was a 3 ball by Des Mengels, said, you know, it's kind of one of those typical Tuesday afternoon games in the Catholic League where, you know, maybe you can come up and surprise some teams. Faison.
It's always those sleepy Tuesday games.
And the further you have to travel, a lot of times, like those trips, Zavarian, I feel like, wins 60% of their games this year because of those trips, whether it's a sleepy Tuesday or a sleepy Sunday going down the Bay Ridge. Sacco with his second foul.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're sitting in traffic for 2 hours. Then you got to run up and down the floor.
So an opportunity here for the Kingsmen to cut their deficit to single digits. Does Mengels get out of here, says Sacco. Moore the other way. Faison for 3.
And who else did it start from? Sacco. And here come the Terriers.
And then an offensive foul by Des Mengels. But listen, defense turns to offense.
Yeah, take another look here. Nazareth gets a good look to the rack. Oh, wait, there's that man again. Osmano Sacco with a block party. Good outlet pass up ahead by Nigel Moore and eventually leads to the 3.
And then a great job, too, by Nigel Moore laying into Des Mengels and getting the charge call. Sacco really working hard. That bouncer. Moore saves it into the press table here. Rawlings. And what do we got? Arnold Saunders has a foul.
Yeah, Faison thought that he had the jump ball. Either way, not the call there. But it just goes to show the level that St. Francis Prep is defending at right now.
The away crowd, is that what you call it?
They're all dispersed. It's not like a Premier League game where you have to cordon off one section of the bleachers.
Well, you can see there by our angle that Ron Pierre has got. You can see what's happening here, the shaking of the bleachers as Rawlings buries his first. 16 now for the junior, which is right at his season average. First team all-league selection. 1 for 2, and this one goes off of Naz.
Well, Rollins has lived up to his end of the bargain, and St. Francis Prep making a choice. Do you let Rollins beat you? Do you let Rogers beat you? You can't have them both, so they've secured Rogers, who's only got a handful of points at 4, and everyone else playing below their averages as well.
Anthony hands off to Moore. Faison up top, and a foul called. Des Mengels, who will be called for it, his second. So Anthony with a couple of shots. There's a good look at Veer. The junior from Whitestone. First free throw is good. Manhattan, Robert Morris. The early offers. And what I don't understand is the book, and maybe the reason he's not recruited at a higher level is that he doesn't shoot it so well. But come on, he does so much to win a basketball game.
Which is why he'll be good for Manhattan or Robert Morris. Unfortunately, it's just beyond his control. It's his size. And the shooting is not there. You're right. I mean, if, not comparing him to Steph Curry or anything, but if he was a consistent three-point shooter, then, yeah, you would have the high majors there. Size really isn't that big of a factor. You saw Marquise Noel prosper at Kansas State, so that's really out of the book. So that's what we have to see out of Anthony going into next year.
Big summer ahead for Veer Anthony. Nice bucket inside by Jacob Roman. He's that energy guy, hoping to provide some of that here down the stretch of this third quarter. And again, bit of a different look from the Kingsmen defensively.
Well, back to the zone again. Have to rebound, especially down 11 with 2 minutes to play in the third.
That shot long from Faison, which allows the transition. Rogers, Des Mengels. Nice move inside, attacks Chen, and he'll go to the foul line.
Chen had to make a decision if he wanted to draw the charge or go up for the block. Last second went up for the block because he was dinged for one on the other end. And take another look at Chen. Yeah, you just got to pick your spot here. Went up for the block, some contact. And that sends Achilles to the line.
Yeah, Des Mengels, a guy who Gary Irvin said, maybe you don't see a lot of him through 3 quarters, but somehow in the fourth quarter shows up, gets some big baskets, and perhaps because of the deficit, he's been asked to do a little bit more here today and has delivered to this point.
I can only imagine the toll it takes, too, on a player like Des Mengels, having to sit out a year, transferring to, knowing that basketball is your first love. You lives, breathes, sleeps basketball, and he can't play for a full year and now making the most of it.
I give him a lot of credit, too, because you can transfer then to a public school or go to a Lehigh, an example, right, and you don't have to sit. So impressive for him, knowing what was at stake, knowing he had to sit for a full year.
And it just speaks to the quality of the institutions here in the Catholic League.
Nigel Moore. We're entering a critical juncture here. Veer Anthony for 3, in and out. Skying for the rebound, Nolan Raymond. And there's that size thing you mentioned, right? Nolan Raymond, 5'10". And a foul called as Moore sent to the court.
that is just not boxing out. That's leading to second opportunities for St. Francis Prep, and this is how the fouls drive up.
It was announced that it was against Rawlings, which would be his third. Gary Irvin
is asking.
Might
have to get a replay here because I don't think we have the right shooter. I think that's what the officials are conferring about. That's what Gary Irving is pointing to. Or it might just be they got it against the wrong player.
What is good here is the officials are conferring. And let's see if we have it here. Oh, this is after the fact, I think. All right, so they figured it out at the table. It was Desmangle's foul, his third.
Right.
Great job by the officials as well. Gary Irvin obviously passionately pleading for that look.
Well, good job by
understandably so, of course.
Yes, good job by Irving to point it out to them.
And as well, doing it in a way that, he was passionate but not over the line as well. But listen, ultimately they got it right, which is what's important as Moore knocks down the first. 9 now for Nigel Moore. And it's funny, we spoke about the depth of the Kingsmen, and you go up and down the lineup, 4 points a game, 5 points a game. It's similar here with St. Francis Prep. Obviously, the star right now tonight is Sacco, but you're getting contributions from so many different guys.
Yes, exactly. And when you got your big man eating, then everybody eats. But how about that 3 by Rawlins trying to prosper his team back down 9?
Big shot by Halon inside the final minute of this third quarter. Anthony to Raymond. And you can see the Terriers slowing things down. They're a team, they want to play in the 50s and the 60s. They're not getting up and down, scoring 80 points a game. Here's Sacco to Vier Anthony with 5 on the shot clock. Anthony attacks. Rejection by Rawlings. Faison, the interception. The look down low. Up and under, Vier Anthony.
Good job by Vier Anthony. Started off with Faison. Not the best of passes. Denied, Sacco.
Sacco, the rejection. We go the other way. Good if it goes. It doesn't go. But it's going right now for the Terriers. They've got an 11-point lead through 3. You're watching the Brooklyn Queens championship game right here on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
Hey, it's Isaiah Hartenstein. You're watching Varsity Media.
Welcome to Supreme Hoops basketball training in the heart of Queens, New York, where passion meets performance. Are you ready to evaluate your game and unleash your true potential? At Supreme Hoops, we're not just about basketball, we're about results. Our experienced coaches are dedicated to taking your skills to the next level. Whether you thrive at group sessions or prefer the personalized attention of one-on-one coaching, Supreme Hoops has you covered. Let's get to work. Book your session today at supremehoopstraining.com.
Welcome back to St. Francis Prep. Dylan Butler, John Perez, our entire Varsity Media crew here. 8 minutes remaining in this one. And Jimmy Lynch hoping his Terriers can hold on and win a 4th Brooklyn Queens championship.
He's got to be happy with what he's seen out of his team, particularly that man wearing number 25 in white, Osmana Sacco, 3rd-teamer all-league. And defensively, check. Offensively, check. 3-point shooting. Let's take a look at Faison on the interception, showing off his football skills. Curls it up the sideline and leads to the bucket for Vier Anthony. And everything has gone right for St. Francis Prep.
We make the trip to the Bronx tomorrow. Murdoch Avenue, Mount St. Michael for the Archdiocesan Championship. We'll have that game live in the Varsity Media Sports Network. 1 o'clock tip. Archbishop Stepanak, the top seed, against the 2nd seed, the Ravens of St. Raymond's. Those two teams met twice this year, and it was Stepanak winning both.
Let's just take a look at Sacco again on the block. On the other side, too, just getting it done defensively.
feel like Ron Pierre probably thinks he's up at a European soccer match with the stands around him shaking. Sacco pulls out another jumper, 29 for Big O. Rawlings inside. Taken away. Good defense by Raymond. Raymond, the bouncer. Tough one, but it's picked up by Moore. Outside, Anthony short on his 3 attempts.
Rushed it a little bit, had the defender closing out on him. A shot that Anthony wishes he had back. Normally drains him, but now down 13 for Nazareth. Got to get buckets and stop, and don't look at it as a 13-point deficit. Just mini 4-0 spurts here for the Kingsmen.
Well, here's a guy who could do it on his own. Rawlings, hands off. That's Des Mengels. It's 11 on 11. Too strong. And another rebound for Big O. Here comes Raymond the other way. Big O. Faison cleans it up underneath.
Well, that was a why not three-pointer by Sacco, as Nazareth will call a quick 30-second timeout. I mean, hey, when they're all dropping, why not?
Faison's like, thanks for the pass. Big O, almost from the Blue Bay Diner.
Yeah. See, and Roman just didn't catch it cleanly. And St. Francis Prep, if you want to put this game into one microcosm, it's Osmana Sacco having an impact, but also the rest of the Terriers just not giving up and supplying that energy.
You kind of wondered what the reaction, I think, would be here tonight, because there was so much emotion involved in beating a Christ the King, right? That's their rival here in Queens. They've lost to them 5 consecutive times, including in last year's Brooklyn Queens Championship at Christ the King. To finally get that monkey or gorilla off their back, sometimes, like you mentioned, the Miracle on Ice, perfect example. The U.S. didn't win a gold medal by doing that, right? But, they responded well then to win the gold medal. And St. Francis Prep, you exert so much energy and so much goes into that. You kind of wonder what they'd bring here tonight, but through 3 quarters and a couple minutes, the answer is a pretty emphatic one.
Well, I'll tell you what, the Terriers are doing a better job than the U.S. did with Finland in that first period. Remember, they trailed by 2 goals late in the gold medal game. But, no, you're right. And you know what? That might just relieve a lot of stress, too, and take away the doubt that you might have had for St. Francis Prep if you're in that huddle, looking at the Brooklyn Queens bracket, knowing that you'd have to face Christ the King at the semifinals. They knock them off. It helps to have some home cooking here, even though they'll tell you it's not a home game. That's hogwash, pardon my French.
Strong language.
Yeah. Sorry, it's Friday night. It's after 9. No, it's not. But either way, yes. So seeing them get it done, it just adds to the energy and the emotion. And I think, Dylan, and correct me if I'm out of school here, but if St. Francis Prep plays like this, there's no reason to believe that we can't see them again in the city final. It's a long way to go. It's a tall task.
No, I don't think you're not making a crazy, wild statement. As Rawlings goes 1 for 2.
This just in. The prognosticators say if you rebound, shoot the ball well, and feed your big man, you're going to get to the city final.
Raymond, a little bit too anxious there as he throws it away. And that's the one thing I think you can't do if you're a St. Francis Prep. You can't open the window to a Naz team who can score points in bunches.
It still amazes me that we're dealing with a 35-second shot clock in high school, but you've got 35 seconds for a reason. And I know that you still have 6.5 minutes to play, but you're right. Close the window. Sit on the ball for Nazareth. Make them come out and play you.
Oh, that'll be a backcourt violation. And actually a smart play by Rawlings as well, because he makes sure he grabs the ball before Anthony perhaps goes and lays it up.
I wonder if Irvin is thinking about calling a timeout. A lot of unforced errors by Nazareth. This really isn't who they are. A little bit of a wake-up call going into the intersectionals.
Yeah, these two teams, obviously, listen, this is for seeding purposes, right? You can equate this to a Big East championship or an ACC championship. As Moore missed a few. Big O comes down with it, gets it out to Faison, and look at what Faison does, right? Let's relax here. Let's use this shot clock. Here's Michelle. Big O. Nice look down low to Veer Anthony. Back out again. Back inside. And Sacco called for the foul. That'll be his fourth. So Chen will check in.
Well, if you've watched any of our games this year, you know I sound like a broken record saying that you got to rely on your depth if you want to win a city title. A big opportunity for Hao Chen to get some extended minutes against a very good Nazareth team, a high-quality team, and kind of insert himself defensively and into the flow of the offense.
Rawlings back out. Tough jumper off the mark. Big rebound by Rogers. And there is Des Mengels again.
Good job by Rogers following the play. And with Sacco on the bench, you would think that the Kingsmen have a little bit of an easier time grabbing offensive rebounds than they have in the past.
And maybe an easier time on this side of the ball as well. Chen hits the court. Trying to draw something there. Here's Faison for three. No good. Rebound for Rawlings. Des Mengels turns. Kicks. And here's Halon Rawlings. He knew it was short, chased down his own rebounds. Loose ball, Faison, he plays football. He's getting those balls. And a good timeout by St. Francis Prep, realizing the scrum that was on the court.
Well, Hao Chen was all over Anthony Carnaccio trying to call a timeout, but it's just so loud in here. You can't hear the play. And either way, Jimmy Lynch calling a timeout wisely here. Take a look at Chen, one in white. You're right, Rawlings knew that he missed it, but never gets on the ground. And you've got Troy Faison on the ground, and then you've got another Naz player in there as well. That was Francis trying to secure it, and just couldn't get it done.
4:23 left here. It's the fourth quarter of the Brooklyn Queens championship game. As we mentioned, we'll take the trip up to the Bronx tomorrow for the Archdiocesan championship game between Stepanak and St. Raymond's. And there you see some of our upcoming games. Hey, we're going to the girls' side. That's going to be fun on Sunday.
Yeah.
You and I over at Christ the King. It'll be the Tier 1 Archdiocesan championship between Scanlon and St. Joe's. And tonight, the Brooklyn Queens semifinals are happening at Christ the King. So we'll get those finalists. Maybe we'll get Zavarian and Christ the King. Hey, those two teams, just a week or so ago in Bay Ridge, the Clippers won in overtime.
Yeah, no, and it's going to be fun to see the Christ the King girls team as well. Of course, for my money, the greatest high school girls basketball program in the country, coached by the best high school girls coach in the country, Bob Mackey. Of course, he won't say that himself, so somebody has to say it. No, it's going to be a lot of fun, and look for Zavarian to go back-to-back. They're a young, feisty team. It's going to be a lot of fun to see them lock horns with the Royals.
Off the timeout, Nazareth picking up full court out of necessity. Here's Michelle. Doesn't have the numbers. Pulls it out wisely. Faison, he'll attack. Rawlings. Nice basket there by Troy Faison.
Faison's cramping. Keep an eye on 3 and white.
He's got 11 now. Michelle, the interception. Ahead of the fields. Again, smart play. Moore doesn't force it. And you get it out to Veer Anthony. Gary Irvin calling for his players to come out and attack Veer Anthony. Don't let him just sit on the basketball. Faison. Oh, Faison.
What a crafty move to get to the rack, and Faison. Is that now 4 straight points?
Yeah, 6 in this fourth quarter, 13 on the game. Oh, Rawlings. The 3 ball. Timeout for Gary Irvin. It's a full, and we'll take it with them as well. And before that, let's show you this Rollins.
Yeah, throwing the leg out there, trying to get the foul call. Either way, sinks it. And the Kingsmen trying to come back in this one.
3:21 left here, fourth quarter. You're watching the Brooklyn Queens Championship game on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
Looking to grow your business on social media? Let Varsity Media help you. With over 50,000 followers across our platform, sponsor a segment during the broadcast and share it on social media the next day. It's the best of both worlds, as you'll get thousands of plays and your ad will live on the broadcast forever. Contact us today for sponsorship packages by calling 917-470-0864 or emailing varsitymediasponsors@gmail.com.
Welcome back to St. Francis Prep. Dylan Butler, John Perez, our entire Varsity Media crew. 3:21 left here, fourth quarter. Let's take a look at, John, some of the past champions here in the Brooklyn Queens Championship. And there you see Christ the King. What a game that was last year. An incredible one. Dwayne Pierce, the late steal. 1-point win there. And there you see in 2022, St. Francis Prep winning it. They technically went back-to-back because there was no BQ in 21, beating Zavarian as well. But a lot of Christ the King. Laughlin had some big wins there. They're a bit of a struggle this year, but I saw Ed Gonzalez before the start of this one. So listen, we'll be back.
Yeah, it's been a long time for Bishop Laughlin since the Campenny brothers, Chad Venning, Keith Williams, Marquise Noel. But either way, always one of the top teams in Brooklyn Queens.
Did you know that the Champagne, as Moore gets to the basket, their dad, Ranford Champagne, was at St. John's with me. What an incredible soccer player he was. Part of that national championship squad in 1996, as Vera Anthony is called.
He wasn't a gentleman, too, and he was also the head coach at Baruch, too.
Yes.
And I remember they won a CUNYAC championship with his twins, who were, 7 years old at the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was cool and a full circle moment. Now both playing in the NBA. By the way, how tough is this league? Is it won't stick for Nazareth. Bishop Laughlin had 2 NBA players on their team. Now they were young, but either way, and they didn't win the city title. Archbishop Malloy, 2 NBA players, no title.
You had Moses Brown, you had Cole Anthony, and Joe Loads and Joe Toussaint getting the win for Cardinal Hayes up in the Bronx. Well, no backcourt on the inbound. Rawlings tries to go baseline. Scoop layup doesn't fall. Chen the rebound. That was A.J. Moody, the sophomore. And now again, Nazareth picking up full court. They've got to defend. They've got to get a turnover. And St. Francis Prep kind of going 4 corners here, and Rawlings gets his hand on it.
I love the wingspan and the bounce for Rawlins. Boy, what a prospect he is. And can't wait to see what the offers are going to be next year for him. It's a huge summer upcoming for both of these gentlemen.
Michelle off the inbound goes to VR Anthony. Moody with the interception. Naz, they're going to have to get points in a hurry here. This Mangles goes down low. First shot, no good. And the Kingsmen lose the ball. That was Jennings.
Yeah, you know what? That's been a picture of Nazareth's night. Had a good comeback in the first quarter, but just not able to sustain the offensive threat of Osmana Sacco and St. Francis Prep tonight, who are playing like champions on their home court.
Timeout for Jimmy Lynch. We'll call a 30, so we'll keep it right here. And a reminder as well that in addition to the Archdiocesan Championship, we pick things up in the quarterfinals up at Fordham University. And in fact, we're going to be at Fordham pretty much exclusively from here on out the quarterfinals, the A and the B championships, the semifinals, and of course, the big one, the AA Intersectional Championship. All those games right here on the Varsity Media Sports Network. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, youtube.com/Varsity Media.
I always think it's the best Sunday of the year playing at Rose Hill, and that final game, the whole city watches, capacity crowds, especially with the caliber of teams that we have. And, Stepanak always travels well. If St. Raymond gets there, another Bronx team. You've got Christ the King. You've got St. Francis Prep, all great fan bases.
I always feel like you need a team there, like maybe that hasn't been there in a little while.
Right.
Or listen, Stepanak, the crazies they have there, it's a short trip for them.
Jungle.
Yes. But they, from the jungle to the zoo, right? The Bronx Zoo right there. But, listen, I think we could be in for just an incredible intersectional playoffs. Vera Anthony. You've got to obviously list Stepanak, right, as the favorite, as now Gary Irvin imploring his team to foul here inside the final 90 seconds. Faison will attack. He'll get fouled, and he'll get the basket.
Celebration on for St. Francis Prep. Even when Nazareth's trying to foul, they still can't stop the Terriers. Too much Faison. You can start the buses.
15 right now for Faison in a huge fourth quarter. 8 points already for the sophomore from Springfield Gardens. He and Sacco have been playing basketball for a very long time. And Jimmy Lynch would love for that to continue for a few more years as well, as Faison concludes that three-point play. Raymond to the bench, and Big O back in the game.
Faison really carrying the load for a Sacco-less St. Francis Prep squad, and doing a great job.
Des Mengels attacks Sacco, doesn't get it. Faison comes away, checks the rear view, pushes it ahead. Big O! Oh, my goodness. 31 for Sacco. Layup misses. It is all St. Francis Prep. A 20-point lead. Sacco, no basket. Foul on the floor.
Well, that'll put an exclamation point on an exceptional night for Osmana Sacco. Huge dunk here. Fantastic job. Now time just a matter of seconds for the Terriers.
Faison on the baseline. Pushes it back out. St. Francis Prep. Listen, Nazareth were the top seed. Prep is playing on their home court. So where does the advantage go coming in? Some might say maybe an advantage for St. Francis. Others said Nazareth, but I don't think anyone saw a 20-point win for St. Francis Prep.
No, and I think what we saw was a historic performance here for Sacco, Osmana Sacco. I don't think anybody expected that either. We've got the points here. I'd have to imagine he's got to be at a double-double as well. Celebration on for the Terriers.
Yeah, shot clock violation, but obviously that's just straight math here. And speaking of math, St. Francis Prep, your Brooklyn Queens champions, 72-52. Another Brooklyn Queens championship for the Terriers of St. Francis Prep. So you see the celebration for St. Francis Prep. You win a championship, but you earn the top seed out of Brooklyn Queens, which, I don't know. You referenced the intersectional bracket. Maybe it's not such a great thing because you play a very unpredictable team, likely playing, or you could play a very unpredictable team in Cardinal Hayes, it'll be Hayes Holy Cross. How about Holy Cross?
Well, listen,
St.
Dylan,
Francis
we're not there yet. Let's just celebrate St. Francis Prep because they've got a long way to go. I know that Jimmy Lynch said that this isn't the ultimate goal or a goal when it comes to this dream season that he wants to have. But having said that, though, it's got to be huge for the program, huge for the men in there to hoist some hardware going into the city playoffs, and it's just a great job all around by St. Francis Prep. They played like champions tonight, and we could worry about the bracket and everything later on, but just a great job by St. Francis Prep playing like champions and get to celebrate on their bench.
We showed you in that graphic moments ago the previous 10 champions in Brooklyn, Queens, and listen, St. Francis Prep, there were many lean years here in Fresh Meadows, but recently Jimmy Lynch has got it going, and the third Brooklyn Queens championship in the last 5 years, I believe.
And this is him revitalizing the program, making it his own. And what a fantastic job. Just another BQ championship. And hopefully for him, what he believes, just one of many. And this should be a yearly thing. And yes, you've got Christ the King, Bishop Laughlin, ABC and D, Zavarian, and Nazareth too. Don't count them out. No reason to believe that they can't be back in this game again. But either way, Brooklyn Queens running through St. Francis Prep. It seems like they're in the final every year.
We'll send it to Tommy Kennedy for the awards presentation.
Mr. Paul Gilberry. At this time, we will present the awards to the runners-up. Their first year back in AA, the Nazareth Kingsmen. Starting with 0, Joseph Jennings. Number 1, Tristan Rogers. Number 2, Tyler Francis. Number 3, Jacob Roman. Number 4, Halon Rollins. Number 5, Elijah Witter. Number 11, Achilles Desmangles. Number 13, A.J. Mooney. Number 15, Xavier Robertson. Number 21, Justin Delgado. Number 23, Michael Alexander. Number 24, Caden Francis. And number 33, Daniel Prince. And the head coach of the Kingsmen, Mr. Gary Irvin. Once again, congratulations to the Nazareth Kingsmen on an excellent season, and we wish them luck in the intersectional playoffs. And now we will present the awards to the champion St. Francis Prep Terriers. Number 1, Hal Chen. Number 2, Nolan Raymond. Number 3, Troy Faces. Number 5, Joseph Nunez. Number 10, Fear Anthony. Number 11, Nacho Moore. Number 13, Tyler Michelle. Number 14, Gio Moran. Number 15, Ethan Butler. who had 31 points tonight in victory. And number 30, Connor Griffin. And last but not least, the Terriers head coach, the birthday boy, Jimmy Lynch.
And what a moment, John Perez, for those Terriers. And listen, you still have the intersectionals, but like you said, tonight you enjoy that championship, and it is a nice-looking trophy at that. That is for sure.
It's something that'll be put here in school and etched in history, and great effort tonight, and certainly a night that these guys won't forget.
So one more photo to take there from the foul line. And a big performance for the Terriers. And listen, you score 31 points in a championship game. You certainly deserve some honors and accolades, and that is the case certainly for Ousmane Sacco. The supreme play of the game. Here it is again. It's time for the top play of the game presented by Supreme Hoops Training. Based in Queens, New York, Supreme Hoops Training aims to provide high-level basketball skill development in New York City. Here it is.
Talk about high level here. All night, Ousmane Sacco leading St. Francis Prep to a BQ championship. A heroic, historic, and supreme performance here in Queens.
With multiple trainers on staff, they offer training programs that are tailored to all skill levels. Their goal is to help you become a supreme player. Book a session today at supremehoopstraining.com. So we will get Ousmane Sacco in a moment here as the pictures, I think, have just broken. A large crowd has made their way onto the court. And Big O, he could run for mayor right now here in Fresh Meadows, that is for sure.
So I was going to say, he's the man of the people.
And we will get Ousmane Sacco here post-game with us. And what a performance here tonight. Ousmane Sacco is with us now as our player of the game. Big O, Dylan Butler, John Perez with you. And listen, man, right from maybe from the pregame warm-ups, I don't know, maybe yesterday, it seemed like you were at a different level here tonight. You've played great all year, but 31 points in a championship game. I mean, how did you do it tonight?
I know I had to come out and perform. And our back's been against the wall all season, so this one was very important to me, and I just let it all loose tonight. I let it all out, and yeah.
Oh, let's raise that mic on you so the people can hear you at home. And
go.
we're looking at your play. You got the block on one end. How much do you pride yourself on defense, and how much does it spark you offensively as a player?
I pride my defense a lot. because I feel like without my defense, my team isn't as good. And I feel like that's what we are. We play defense. We're the best defensive team in the league. And yeah.
You 22 points in the first half, and we've seen that range before, but it really felt like you were, again, knocking down threes pretty consistently, especially in the first half.
I've been working on my threes. I had to prepare for this game. This game was the most important game of my life, and I was ready, and I proved that tonight.
A lot of people stepping at Christ the King, Nazareth. St. Francis Prep is with the hardware. What kind of statement does this say going into the playoffs?
We're nothing to play with. So, and yeah, like I said, we had our backs against the wall all season, and we just proved everybody wrong. Yeah, and we coming for that city. So,
well, you heard it from Big O. They're coming for the city. And listen, you had 31, but balanced scoring, and you get that every night. So many contributions across the board. And listen, he said, they're not to be played with, so look out for the Terriers, right?
I'm not going to play with them.
Big O, Ousmane Sako, congratulations on the championship, and best of luck in the intersectionals.
Thank you.
So that is the super sophomore, Ousmane Sako. 31 points for him as St. Francis Prep gets the win here in the Brooklyn Queens championship game. What a performance, John Perez. An emphatic win as well. There were no questions about the Brooklyn Queens championship here tonight.
No, an emphatic win. St. Francis Prep comes in. They assert dominance from the get-go, punctuated by that young man right there. And like you said, St. Francis Prep, in so many words, might be the team to beat in his eyes, and we'll see that all play out on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
A big one tomorrow, of course. We head up to the Archdiocesan championship game. Stepinac and St. Raymond's third meeting as well between those two teams. Stepinac the favorite. There's a look at our upcoming broadcasts. That is always a terrific atmosphere as well. We might have to go to Murdoch Avenue now, I think, just to get a good parking spot up at Mount St. Michael. But then we head to the girls' side, and two very, very important games as well. There's state seeding and qualification involved in those two. It's the Tier 1 Archdiocesan Championship and then the Tier 1 Brooklyn Queens Championship. Those games will be from Christ the King, and we will have those two for you as well. So again, the final score here, Jimmy Lynch and the Terriers, 72-52 victors. They are your Brooklyn Queens champions. That'll do it for us from Fresh Meadows, Queens, for our entire Varsity Media crew, our executive producer, Ben Turchin, our technical director, Chris Sweeney, for Travis DeLuise and Ron Priere, bringing you all those great moving images. For my broadcast partner, John Perez, Dylan Butler, thanking you for joining us from St. Francis Prep. We look forward to seeing you next time right here on the Varsity Media Sports Network.